You don't earn more money because you're still thinking like someone who earns less. And that's hard to accept because it means the problem isn't outside, it's you. Not your job, not your situation, not your past, you. Most people spend years trying to fix their income without ever questioning the system that's creating it. They change jobs, they chase opportunities, they learn new skills, but nothing really changes because the core stays the same. And here's what nobody tells you. Your income is not random. It's not luck. It's not even about how hard you work. It's a pattern, a predictable outcome of how you think. Think about it. Every decision you make about money, how much to spend, what to invest in, when to take action, when to delay, all of it comes from your internal programming. And that programming wasn't designed for growth. It was designed for safety. From childhood, you were trained to avoid risk, to follow rules, to stay within limits, to be realistic, to be careful, to not lose. But here's the problem. Those rules create stability, not wealth. Because wealth requires expansion, risk, uncertainty, discomfort, and your brain hates all of those things. So what does it do? It protects you. It keeps you in familiar patterns, even if those patterns are keeping you broke. That's why you procrastinate. That's why you hesitate. That's why you scroll instead of act. It's not laziness, it's conditioning, deep conditioning. Your brain is constantly asking one question: is this safe? Not, will this grow me? And that single difference changes everything. So every time you choose comfort, you are unconsciously rejecting expansion. Every time you delay, you reinforce the identity of someone who stays where they are. And over time, that identity becomes your reality, not because you're not capable, but because you're consistent. Consistent in the wrong direction. That's the part nobody wants to admit, because it means you are responsible. Not guilty, not broken, but responsible. And responsibility is power. Because the moment you accept it, you can change it. But until then, you stay stuck, repeating, waiting, hoping, and hope is not a strategy. This is where most people stop. They feel uncomfortable. They recognize the truth, but they don't act on it. Because acting on it requires a shift, a real shift. Not in actions, but in identity. And identity is the hardest thing to change because it feels like you. But here's the reality. Who you are right now is not fixed. It's constructed, built from habits, beliefs, experiences, and repeated behaviors, which means it can be rebuilt, but only if you're willing. To let go of the version of you that's keeping you small. And that's where the real resistance begins. Not outside, inside. Because upgrading your income requires upgrading your identity. And upgrading your identity feels like losing yourself. But you're not losing yourself. You're losing your limitations. And most people would rather keep their limitations than face the discomfort of change. That's why they stay the same, year after year. But you're here for a reason. You feel it. You know, there's more potential, more income, more control over your life. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is not time, it's thinking. And that's what we're about to upgrade. Let's break the illusion. You don't need more information. You already know enough. What you need is a different way of thinking, because information doesn't change income. Decisions do. And decisions come from identity. So if you want to earn more, you don't start with money. You start with mindset, but not in a vague, motivational way, in a precise, structured way, a system. Here's what that system looks like. Upgrade number 1. Stop asking, how can I make money? That question keeps you reactive. It keeps you small. It assumes you're lacking something. Instead, ask, who do I need to become to earn this level of income consistently? That question shifts your focus from chasing money to building value, and value is what money follows. Upgrade number 2. Raise your standards, not your goals, your standards. Because goals are temporary. Standards are permanent. Goals say, I want this. Standards say, this is who I am. And your life always aligns with who you are, not what you want. So if your standards are low, your results will match. Every time. Upgrade number 3. Redefine time. Most people treat time like it's infinite. Like there's always more. There isn't. Every hour you delay has a cost. Not just in time, but in lost opportunity. High performers understand this. They don't waste time because they see it as money, not metaphorically, literally. Every minute not used for growth is a missed chance to increase value. And over time, that adds up massively. Upgrade number 4. Take action before clarity. This is where most people fail. They wait, they analyze, they hesitate, they want certainty, they want guarantees, but certainty doesn't exist, and clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you create through action, through movement, through doing, messy action, imperfect action, uncomfortable action, because action reveals what thinking cannot. Comfort feels good, but it costs you growth, because everything that expands you feels uncomfortable at first. New decisions, new habits, new risks, they all trigger resistance. And if you interpret that resistance as a sign to stop, you stay where you are. But if you interpret it as a sign you're growing, everything changes. Because now, discomfort becomes a signal, not a threat. And once that shift happens, you stop avoiding growth, you start moving toward it. And that's when your income starts to follow. At some point, you have to stop pretending. Stop pretending you don't know what to do. Stop pretending you need more time. Stop pretending you're almost ready. You're not stuck. You're avoiding discomfort, avoiding risk, avoiding the version of you. That requires more. And that avoidance has a price, a silent price, paid in missed opportunities, missed growth, missed income, because every day you stay the same. You reinforce the same identity, and that identity produces the same results. So if you want different results, you need a different identity, not later, now. Because waiting is just another form of staying the same. And staying the same is the most expensive decision you can make. The moment you shift your thinking, everything starts to change. Not instantly, but inevitably. Because money is a byproduct, not a goal. It follows value. It follows decisions. It follows identity. So when your identity upgrades, your income has no choice but to catch up. And once you understand this, you stop chasing money. You start building yourself. And that's the real game, not external, internal. Because the world responds to who you are, not what you want. So the question is simple. Are you going to keep thinking at the same level and expect different results? Or are you ready to upgrade? Not your effort, not your routine, your identity, because that's where everything changes. And that decision is happening right now, whether you realize it or not.